So now I have given a general sketch of what the Denmark-Malawi bridge would be, which basically which draws inspiration from my mother and from my father and from my real father too, so my stepfather as well. That's a different angle, which does not really concern this part of it, because I am focusing on Mchinji right now, and I'm focusing on Copenhagen, and possibly when I go to focus on Aarhus, we're going to focus on some wider things, but all those things can come under the actual curriculum. When we want to put together a curriculum, we can go very wide. As you can tell, I'm Rasta and I'm a reggae musician, so there's even scope for that to be elaborated. There's a whole Pan-African scope. There's the whole issue of addressing racism and the different levels of racism. And we have experts here in Denmark, right across the world, and gender and all the issues that basically cover the world right now. All those are very legitimate dynamics and trends, spiritual issues, organizations, churches, all those things. The dynamics. In my field, there is no, you don't discriminate, you don't judge, you don't discriminate a dynamic. When you deal with socioeconomic strategy, which is the title I've given my work over 20 years. So, and I'm trying to remind the Minister of Foreign Affairs and the Prime Minister of Denmark that I am the first ever socioeconomic strategist, at least in my mind, but I'm actually telling you that we need such an office in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs or anywhere. You need such a political party as well. I don't know, political party strategy, politics will corrupt it. It's a discussion by itself. But anyway, having come back to that, I would say that there is no discrimination of dynamics. You respect a dynamic for what it is. When we do strategy, we are scientists. We look at the dynamics as though it was physics, as though it was chemistry. You have certain ways of inducing dynamics, and you have certain indicators of what dynamics do. All these things, it's very scientific. All of that comes under CCSR, Comprehensive Corporate Social Responsibility, and we create a situation, a win-win situation for everybody involved, even for the business and everything that goes into why would business. I mean, with CCSR, you would create the type of confidence that business will say, okay, and security that business will say, look, oh, in Malawi they have CCSR right across the country, and so therefore, of course, we want to invest in Malawi. That's good for the government. That's good for the opposition. That's good for the civil society. That's what we're looking at. So of course, all these inputs and all the brainy people who've written I don't know how many papers in the different instances and different perspectives and different angles of all these issues coming together to really discuss things, and we say, okay, how do we do it? What is the golden ratio of it all? That's what we're going to work out when we come to KSAE. So that's kind of like, where am I trying to go to with this? I guess what I'm going to here is kind of like the actual content of the curriculum. It will need at least 6 months of input. I am drawing inspiration from an amazing period in Danish history that unfortunately has been forgotten by everybody, including Danes. You know what? It has even been forgotten by the political party that should be espousing that period. Somewhere along the way, that political party forgot its I think there are many words I could put in there, but let me just say roots. That happens a lot. But for 40 years, but I put this in the letter to the Queen, for 40 years, Denmark went through a process where on a very democratic process that engaged every citizen of the country into discussion into what the merits of a single tax or land value taxation would be for the governance of Denmark. What would the advantages be? So the discussion was so widespread and so successful that there were actually 3 parties that went up to election in 1957 on that ticket. And so when it became obvious that it was going to be a coalition government, the three parties that had agreed on the land value taxation came together and formed a government. You had the Justice Party, Hartsforbundet, you had the Social Democrats, and now this other one is escaping me, the Radicals, die Radikale. And they created a government from 1957 to 1961, which created what the Germans called the Danish economic miracle. Okay, so that's not what I want to really put across here. What I want to put across here is the process. Can't you see the beauty in the process of such a democratic process of creating something? That is what I want to mirror at Kaisa in the first 6 months. I want us to find the golden ratio of having quantified, qualified the different dynamics that actually play out in this arena of development in Africa and in Malawi. So we have Kaisa as a think tank looking at Njinji as a microcosm of a wider macrocosmic situation that's happening in Africa. And once it's happening in Africa, it's happening everywhere in the world. You know, that's the thing. That's the thing that I'm burning for. That's why I want to walk 18,000 kilometers. That's why I play on the streets. That's why I don't want anybody to disturb me. That's why I don't want to have a job where I meet a boss in the morning and say, "Hi Jimmy, how's it going? Where Africa?" Blah, blah, and have the same old talk about Africa, what you hear on the news and everywhere and all that. I need time to think. I'm African. I care about Africa more than anybody could ever care about Africa. I need time to think. And if I must walk from Cape to Cairo, think and plan, that is exactly what I'll do. If I must stand on the street and sing to make my money just to survive and live in a hostel, that is what I will do, because I will not take my time to go work in a job and then pay rent and all this type of thing and have a wife and blah, blah, back forth, back forth. When will I have time to think about the thoughts that Africa actually needs to really solve this? You know, so that's also the reason why I have not become a reggae musician in the sense of how I see others have done it before. Bob Marley is my hero. Peter Tosh is my hero. Bob Marley is like, great. But the things that Bob Marley opens up and says needs to be done, it takes a lot, my brother. And it does not mean that we're all going to go on that stage and do Bob Marley things. I like it. I love it. And I'd like to. But the same reason why I left school and did not go for a degree is because I knew the degree would not guarantee that I would actually find solutions for Africa on the ground. Therefore, a career in reggae music, the way the structure is, would never guarantee that I would find the solutions on the ground. So 20 years have gone to finding solutions on the ground or understanding what the solutions would be, and that is what we want to implement. Now I have lost track of what to say, what I wanted to say when I began, but I've not lost track of the project, and I never will. That's me. So yeah, it was about the input, the curriculum, and everything, and the process, the 6 months to create the what you call it, the golden ratio of all the directions we could put together. And after 6 months, and volunteers coming, Anderson Volunteer Agency, people coming for weeks and input, blah, blah, blah. And having said that, I know that I've been talking to people who also either need children, black, white, brown, yellow, who have the same background as myself. We all want to have one big open office there at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Denmark. You need to have like an office that's called the Office of the Children of Danida, because that'll be the think tank that will save Denmark a lot of money. We are also Danish citizens. We do not agree with the NGOs and the organizations who for so long time have actually done this. One of my friends, she's a very good journalist. I think it's called sympathy porn is what she calls it. I'll show you the article. This whole poster boy, David Peary, because there was a David Peary. There's a David Banda, but you need to know that back in 1992, there was a David Peary on front of the Mirror in London. I'm coming home from busking, and there's a kid, big belly, suffering again, Africa suffering again. And I said, oh my God, what's this? I buy the Mirror and I'm going to read it, and hardly ever buy the Mirror, but I bought it because it's Africa. And when I check it, and I said, Malawi. What, Malawi? I was thinking it's going to be Somalia. Malawi? David Peary? We have to go into action immediately. And all the Malawians know this. You know, all the Malawians know this. The young man who received burning spear when he went to visit the president in Malawi, Q Malawezi, he is the son of now the deceased. So condolences to you, Q, your father, and to Justin also, the vice president of Malawi. At the time when this whole David period blew up, we have Louis Chikuni, whose father was head of the Malawi Department for Preparedness, I think disaster and preparedness, you know. So as far as that famine in 92, I consulted with my father, Mr. Anderson, and he explained to me what could have been done to avoid it. We're not going to name names. And there was a report on that as well. So all of it in the end boiled down to people wanting to have $400 million from the US too. I don't know what. Rasta, go back and busk. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is that the youth who received burning spear in Malawi, who is now has access to the president, obviously, they know of me and they know of my process. It's not just him. There are many. They know my brother more because of him being involved with Lake of Stars and all of that. And all those forces, all those instances, and all that experience, and all the youths who have grown up in Danida around the world, Danida projects in Kenya, Danida projects in Botswana, where they no longer are there, big up Botswana, Tanzania, Mozambique, all these areas where they say they have shut down Danish embassies. The children are still there, and that's us. We need an office because I am a Danish citizen. It is not fair on the Danish electorate to be told this story of Africa starving and money being given to. The people in Denmark on the ground are right. Africans need to solve their problems themselves, and that is what I exemplify right here. I need the people in Denmark to know that. Right? I'm ready to walk from Cape to Cairo. I'm ready to think. I'm ready to write books. I'm ready to do whatever I've got to do to solve our problems. So I need the support of the Danish people who say that Africans need to go to Africa and solve African problems, because the organizations have offices, they have experts. They'll probably kill me now, and they have salaries based on what? On you and me as Africans not saying exactly what I've just been saying. So finding the golden ratio for the curriculum, it will take a long time, but we've got to open up, and hopefully all the experience of all the NGOs who might think that, oh, this guy is threatening our position because he's taking away our electorate money. No, they should join me at KSIN so that we create the right golden ratio. Okay, because it will create more jobs and more opportunities for everybody if we get the paradigm right. That's how physics is. That's how chemistry works. That's how mathematics works. Why shouldn't we?